Hello.
Hi.
Welcome. We're talking to Stephanie Grozell. Is that how you say your last name?
Yeah,
Grozell? Okay. I
yeah,
just
you got
realized I don't think I've ever said it out loud before.
it right.
Stephanie is a teacher at Align Movement Studios, and I feel really lucky to have her. She has lots of expertise, and she is a Pilates teacher and a yoga teacher. She teaches the restorative yoga that has been on the schedule on Thursday nights, which is just an absolute pleasure. It's such a lovely class. It's one that I really feel like I can't miss. I always feel nourished and renewed after I take her class. You have a real gift for teaching, Stephanie. It's really great.
Thank you.
So as well as being a teacher for our studio, you also work in the community and in other communities. And I wondered if you could tell me what you do.
Yeah, well, so like you said, I'm a Pilates instructor and yoga instructor, and then I'm also a registered acupuncturist. So I've been an acupuncturist, registered with the CTCMA for just over 2 years now, just past my anniversary in February. And in the community, I work doing acupuncture out of Panacea Massage and Wellness over in Comox. And then I'm also teaching independently out of the Oceanside area in Qualicum Beach. I teach Pilates there as well. And for me, the acupuncture also kind of includes diet therapy and lifestyle modifications, and it opens up my world to a lot of research around health and wellness. And then separately from my own businesses, I also work for a company for which I provide support for a medical device. And so that also opens the door for a lot of research into health and wellness, because I'm working with people who are using the device for their own health purposes. And so have to be really informed about that as well.
I love your research gift. I feel like that is something that really comes through. Your knowledge really comes through, but how well researched you are in everything you do really shines, and I think it's a real value.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, the thing about, like, I don't know what it is about health. I mean, it's probably a little bit like this combination of my own health journey and then also wanting to help others on theirs. But the sphere of health and wellness for me, I can like just sink my teeth into. And so I'm constantly looking for free education, having gone through multiple years and having big student debt with that. But so I get quite into like webinar series, and I follow along with this company called Healthy Means, and they do a lot of series and what do they call it? They call it summits usually. So I just did like a Kick Your Sugar summit and stuff like that. And so there's often a lot of professionals on there educating you, and I just love to like absorb all those little tidbits, and eventually they come into a big full picture. But of course my challenge is, I do all the research and then I have to implement it, and that's where I kind of get hung up sometimes. But
don't we all
exactly.
That's life, man. And how are you using your knowledge and your research to stay positive and healthy, or maybe it's not successful yet, but what do you find is your go-to for staying healthy and positive through a situation like COVID-19, where we're all navigating, let's say, fear, uncertainty, stress, all those things?
Well, in all honesty, yeah, I'm definitely finding it a challenge. Oh, are you still there? Okay, sorry. Call there. Okay, I'm finding it a challenge. But like routine for me has been, but has been key to like keeping my energy optimal and my mind sane. And I've added a few things to my routine that I kind of like leading up to this was trying to implement, but like found or at least told myself I didn't have the time for. So now I'm like, okay, I've definitely got the time.
Yeah.
So routine, that like getting up consistently at the same time, going to bed at the same time, eating like my meals, like regular meals throughout the day, eating healthy meals, getting lots of water. My morning routine right now has been listening to this Buddhist meditation that I follow with Dr. Cheryl Fraser, and she's actually based out in Nanaimo. She's a psychologist up there, and she leads the Dharma talks I've attended them live a couple of times, and so I was really excited that she's doing them online. And so I do that daily with her, and that just really helps to like stabilize my mindset quite a bit. And it gives me a tool that I can use throughout the day if I need it, when that like stress and fear start to really build up. And yeah, and then from there, I'm just trying to, oh my gosh, I'm really popular today. I'm just trying to get, I don't know, I'm still trying to find my way when it comes to like finding my inspiration and like feeling good about the situation, but definitely connecting with my loved ones, and Zoom's been awesome for that. And I recently moved in with my partner and his son, who's with us part-time, so getting like that family time and that connection with them, and kind of and then I tend to try to do a gratitude practice at night. So that just helps to like kind of round out my day a bit. But yeah, just making sure that I'm taking stock of what I'm grateful for. And I've been encouraging my partner to do it as well. I'm like, oh, I still get to teach someone how to be healthy.
Yeah. I think that's great. Routine is such a big deal. And I think even something for me is the two sides of like being sad or scared or whatever, all those feelings that are coming up, and then also being grateful and appreciative and keeping a routine. Sometimes that's a balance for me. But I think that they can coexist, that we can really recognize a situation and sit with all those feelings, but also kind of march forward with routine. That's great.
Definitely. And I mean, now there's so much time in the day suddenly that I'm like, okay, I got to get this done. And then I can be depressed and crawl into bed if I really need to, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can make time for that too if I have to.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes you just need it, but yeah.
And I think also coming from just going full tilt, like, you know, our lives are busy, and we go from full tilt to like, oh, yeah, now what? Yeah.
Yeah, there's this challenge of understanding suddenly how to like sit with yourself and listen to yourself suddenly, and I mean, there's always distractions available. I definitely have done a couple binge.
Oh, frozen.
Yeah, a lot to be gained from just kind of like observing what's going on for me, and giving it a name, and just sitting with it really, and being able to recognize that, like, yeah, I'm accustomed to seeing myself in a certain way, and you know, now I'm feeling like if I'm not doing these specific things, there must be something wrong with me, or how do I, you know, I'm having some issues with that self-identity, and just kind of like reworking that story. There comes with a lot of value there, but it's always a challenge for sure.
Yeah, and we've just got to honor that time, that it will take time.
Definitely, yeah.
So what do you see for the wellness community moving forward? How yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of daunting to think about. I definitely been trying to kind of consider that and pivot, if you will, because definitely that's a huge piece of my life, is that wellness community and the business side of it. I think a lot of we'll still really be able to tap into our clients and provide benefit to them, but just in a different way, right? Using Zoom, using online sources. Of course, my hope is that we'll see the pandemic subside pretty quickly, but given that, you know, potentially we have until summer to sit at home and twiddle our thumbs, I think we'll see a lot of inspiring like things come out, a lot of creativity come out of it, and value for people there. Yeah, I mean, I think, and hopefully too, we'll see a lot of growth, personal growth for each individual, and we'll see people really finding that value that they need in their life, and really focusing on themselves and the care that they give themselves, and hopefully seeing that extend out into the world and the communities around us and the planet. And yeah, so
Yes.
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
It definitely comes at a price, but potentially worthwhile.
Yeah. What an opportunity, hey? Like, I mean, if we could reframe it, it's an opportunity to make some pretty big changes.
Definitely, yeah.
Um, do you have one thing, a tip or an exercise for body, mind, or soul that you would like to impart on us?
Um, yeah, I think actually breathing. Honestly, it's like the simplest thing, completely accessible to us at any time. And we find it in different areas of our life. Like if we do a yoga practice, or we do a Pilates class, or we do, access it through a pranayama or something like that. But it just, it has so much value to be able to just take a full breath and utilize your breathing to tap into what's really going on in your body and be present in the moment. So my tip is definitely just taking like 5 to 10 breaths that are focused breaths, filling your body with breath, and really taking your deepest, fullest breaths so that you can tap into all those areas of your body that you don't maybe normally tap into, and just being aware of what's going on for you and being present in the moment. Um, the breath, it can help us really stabilize the mind and get very present, and especially in those times when we're feeling anxiousness. So I think of anxiousness as sort of thinking about the future and becoming overwhelmed by those thoughts, or when we're feeling that sense of depression, which for me is generally thinking about like what's happened in the past. So there's this balance of getting overwhelmed on either side of my thoughts, and it is the breath that helps keep me like very present and able to recognize that whatever story is going on in my mind and taking me to those negative places, it can be my breath that anchors me in the present moment. And often that presence of mind and breath helps me at least acknowledge to myself that whatever I'm thinking is just a story. So it's not what's happening to me right now. And so it really does help balance the mind and soul for me, and tap into my body so that I can be more aware. And the more you focus on your breathing, the more depth of breath you can find, and it becomes more natural. And so there's obviously a lot of physical value to breathing as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that it's a respiratory virus out there, right? Because
Yeah.
that is a really common thread, is for all of us feel tap into the breath, and yeah. So
Yeah, definitely. And I have had a couple moments where one in particular, we went on a hike, not a very long hike, but a very steep one. And
yeah.
by the end of it, I was like, dying. And I had this moment where I was like, oh my gosh, my lung capacity feels so small all of a sudden. And, I wonder if I have coronavirus, and I didn't even know. And yet, it gave me this sense of, okay, this is what it would feel like to be challenged in breathing, and really brought about a lot of gratitude and appreciation for the fact that, I did not have that going on, and I was able to really come into those deep breaths and challenge my lung capacity. And yeah, so it's a moment of fear, then a moment of balance, but yeah.
Some contrast.
Yeah, a little contrast.
Nice. Is there anything that you are doing online as of yet?
Honestly, not yet. And it's one of those challenges that I'm facing. I'm trying to like work on overcoming my own stuff, and Yeah, and I just haven't really felt called just yet to be present for others. I feel like it's a time for me to be present for myself. But I do anticipate that changing. I've definitely seen, even just over the last few days for myself, that inspiration and light is starting to come back for me, and I'm creating a bit more of a space where I can find that balance. Uh, Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So I anticipate that moving forward, and yet I haven't really found an authentic way for how I want to quite do that. So, I'm seeing a lot of information out there, and I'm definitely doing the research. But I'm waiting for the stream that really speaks to me in a way that I can like authentically speak to people. So.
I love that. And I feel like that's such a value at the studio. For me, myself as well, I feel the same is just honoring this time of reflection, I guess, and where I need to get to in order to um, provide something authentic, which is a really big word for me. It's important that we are connecting
Yes.
and putting something forward that really represents who we are as individuals.
Yeah, and so much of what we put out there, yeah, it represents us, and it attracts the people that we're going to find value from as well. And and I think of it as attracting the clients that I genuinely want to work with and can genuinely help and provide value to. So I think it is really important to like take the time to consider my best medium and how I really want to present myself. I have to kind of find the balance yet again with like this oh, it has to be perfect sense, and then this like, okay, well, this is authentic, I can just go ahead and do it. But yeah, it's a learning curve for me. I've put the time into like learning all about it all, and yet haven't implemented a lot of what I've learned. So it's a challenge for me to put myself out there and kind of get going with it. So I do anticipate it in the near future, but yeah.
Well, yes. Well, I myself look forward to seeing you back in teaching in some way or another, and I absolutely hold space for you for coming out the other side a better teacher, better person, everything. We'll all get through this, and I think it will make us stronger.
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
To sing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when the day comes that I can get back to the busy life of teaching and running my own businesses and, being on putting sort of feet to road, if you will, then yeah, I'll be definitely very happy about that and excited.
Yeah.
Until then, just
until then, here we are. Yeah. Well, it was really nice to chat with you today. Thank you for taking this time.
Yeah.
And we'll look forward to seeing something come out.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.